the stream after the loading is completed. Because, good lord, this is not... I mean, honestly, part of why I stopped playing way back when was long loading times. Especially as you got further into the game, the loading times got progressively worse and worse and worse. Including going, like, within a town. Like, the initial loading screen coming up this slow, fair enough. As long as the others are, 5 to 10 seconds. And yeah, it's going on... There we go. Minute 22 for it to finally load in.
Sure.
Alright, so last we left off, I had just entered Gilded Vale, and it's gonna be a fun little site here.
You must be one of the new settlers. Welcome to Gilded Vale. You'll be pleased to know that we've had some recent vacancies here.
I might reconsider your lord's offer.
Nonsense. Gilded Vale is a perfectly suitable village for those who respect the Lord's decrees. Besides, you won't find a better offer anywhere else in the Deerwood these days, and you look as if you could use a fresh start. Of course, we'll need to make some inquiries first. The inestimable Lord Radric VII has taken great pains to insulate our town from Widewind's legacy. Have you ever sired a Hollowborn child?
What are you talking about?
An infant born without a soul, of course. Lord Radric has made it his first priority to eliminate this scourge from our village.
Now see, that... I would have pronounced that Radric.
I should warn you, stranger. Here in Gilded Vale, we have a special place for dissidents, charlatans, and those who would hide a curse in our midst. His lordship's wife is with child and due any day now. Without his approval, I shan't be able to find you a permanent settlement. It will have to wait until after the birth. We can continue our interview then, after the bell tolls from Radric's hold to signal my lord's new heir. In the meantime, you can find temporary accommodations at the inn, just southwest of here.
I've been feeling strange ever since a close call with a Bewick. Is there someone in town who could help? Actually, no. Before I got here, I saw several people conducting a strange ceremony near some ruins. You'll want to mind where you mention that. Trespassing on Ingwithan ruins is illegal, not to mention dangerous. You probably saw someone attempting some new ritual to appease the gods. People will try anything these days. Barath have mercy, we certainly have. I don't think so. Just as they finished, there was a bivouac. If you'd been that close to a bivouac, you wouldn't be standing here. If you have any other... You said something about Hollowborn and Widewind's legacy before? Well, actually, I'll go with the first one.
Whatever your problem, it sounds like a matter for an animancer. However, the only animancer in Gilded Vale isn't in any condition to speak. Consider yourself
This one, I believe.
fortunate. After she failed Lord Radric, we saw to it that she wouldn't profit from the misplaced trust of others. A bad cure is often worse than none at all. But if you're set on finding a bottle of troll piss or a dead Audra pebble to rub on your forehead, you're welcome to check her pockets. A little corpse stink is nothing when you're digging for shit. My advice, however, is to be satisfied that you escaped and leave it at that.
You said something about Hollowborn and Widewind's legacy before. I forgot that you foreigners do not have this curse in your homelands. The Hollowborn have been a scourge upon the Deerwood for almost 15 years now. Children born without souls. Pitiful, dumb things that breathe, barely, but do not truly live. Some say the Hollowborn are a disease. Some say that they are punishment from the gods. In truth, no one knows. but they began spreading after the Saints' War, and so the name Widewind's Legacy is stuck in honor of that foul, blasphemous pretender. Goodbye.
Keep out of...
1,
Listen!
2.
2 tolls. Let that be the last.
3. Gods have mercy.
It seems your arrival is ill-timed. 3 bells toll only for the death of a Radric. I fear Lord Radric's heir is lost, or else Hollowborn, and so lost all the same. You should tread carefully. Circumstances have changed a great deal.
What do you mean? You come to us at a time of mourning. The legacy is struck at the heart of Gilded Vale. Our efforts to redeem ourselves in the Eyes of Barath must be redoubled. Don't threaten me. What happened? I will know more details when the messengers arrive. The vagaries of childbirth, perhaps. But that is not your concern. Does this affect the Lord's offer to new settlers? I can be sure of nothing right now. I advise you to get some rest. The inn. Or a stable for all I care. Find me afterwards. I will know more soon enough.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Strange way to talk about your dead. Half the town's up there now, seems like. No right way to talk about it. I'm looking for someone who can help me feel better. My condolences. Oh yeah, and there's no quick save on this one, so... Now for the fun. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument is reaching its climax. Its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm, his face partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we?
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
What's going on? Mocking us even while he shelters in our village. Just goes to show you what these fancy Adir manners are worth. We don't take to that kind of treatment. Not from foreigners. Especially not from Adirans.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksfeather!
I'll cut that barrel-licking tongue out of your head.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
That's where you're wrong.
Bit of a split personality. I don't think attacking him is such a good idea. Because then you'll have to deal with me. Oh! Holy shit, that's the first time I've been able to disarm that conflict. Every other playthrough I've had no option.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
Glad I could help.
Courtesy is a rare pleasure in these parts. Though your accent suggests that you are no more local than I. Well, I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvusser, at your service.
How did you manage to get stuck out here? That is something of a long story.
Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I'm grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near some ruins.
Gwithan ruins? Oh, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. And half the locals would arrest you for trespassing, and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Several hooded figures operating a strange machine.
You do manage to find yourself in rather interesting predicaments.
What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expectant wine. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
I've been experiencing strange things of late. I'm looking for an expert on souls.
Indeed. The local lord has searched far and wide for similar specialists. He has rid himself of them almost as desperately.
Eesh. I expect that such expertise would be best sought elsewhere. You don't exactly look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
Just how did you manage to cross those three drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
You did tell that one man to go fuck his sister. Ah, that. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints, and the accent doesn't help. I heard the same thing. I should speak more clearly next time. My apologies. I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Alright, so 1309 when it started. Hey, only 4 seconds. So yeah, I'll just have to make sure to start up the stream after.
Hello.
And welcome to... Oh, it's you! Tenfrith told us what you did for him. It's such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms. Tenfrith said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Tenfrith's the big draw. I'm sure we'll get the big crowds back again in no time. Ah. I'd like a... well... Okay, this means it's stealing. Incidentally. Ah, it's you, my savior. It's so good to be back. Do not think I will let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets. My dearest recipe. After this, you will eat nothing else. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. I'll go get a room then. Because I can't recall whether this is the type of game that will take you up to the room or whether it's just... I know it's one of the ones that will automatically do the... like recipes added.
Hail and well met.
I'd like a room, please. So we've got 371. Yeah, I'll just take the common room. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like moldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly your head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are not empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Oh, nice. Oh, okay, so you can actually change... When did they add that in? Because I don't recall that being an option before. No, actually, it does carry over to the next level, I believe. Yep, unused points will carry to the next level. So, Flames of Devotion. 2 per encounter. Okay, here we go. Cannot be used with other zealous auras. I've got to look something up real quick. Because... Pelagina Aura. Okay, I think she's... Okay, so I'll go with... Let's see. Yeah, I'll go with Zealous Endurance. Nice passive ability. And damage reduction is always a good thing. And let's see. Holy shit, okay, apparently I'm not adding any more into lore. At least not for a long while. Alright, so spells. Sure, I'll go with that. Fetid Caress. Let's see, 6-meter range. Actually, I'm 5-meter. Well, honestly, I'll go with that one. Yeah, sure. I mean, having a little bit of healing is not unwelcome. Yeah, and anyone with a name like that is a Kickstarter backer who wrote their own backstory. So, yeah, not 100% inclined to...
I've got it.
I'll see what I can...
Finished.
Not exactly inclined to read all the descriptions. Sorry, girl. Don't think he's coming back. Well, he can come with... I'll leave the dog alone. If the guy comes back, I don't want to deprive him of his dog. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is what I was talking about with the Tyranny playthrough. Hitting D enables fast mode, which, I mean, you can see just how much quicker it is to move around this way. Welcome to our lovely village. And time to talk to a corpse. The squat, distended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on her surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it. Not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind and focusing on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in a space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with clowns-eyed in a milky fog. Her body still swaying in a wind you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I think I survived a Beerwick. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no? No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy, even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I. Wherever here may be. Me? I'll bore you to tears, though. And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed. A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us, the best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear. Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found? Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up. Of course, dear. Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die, and pick up pieces of others when we are born again. But less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence, and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think. The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay. What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on, some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on. And those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder! Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Merwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company. Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
$17 and a half. 17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman. The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway. Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved. The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta. I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first. Careful, friend. Let's not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense. The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war. Picked the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Vathus worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back. After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Raedric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing. We blew him up. Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger. And a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree. All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
I have received confirmation that Lord Radric's heir was not born well. My lord has issued an injunction on all new homesteads until he can be assured that the village has been cleansed of all Eothasians and whatever other undesirables that have brought this curse upon his lands. It would be best if you left town as soon as possible. I would suggest returning to your old home. There will be no place for you here. You may stay at the inn until you can make the necessary arrangements, but I would not advise remaining long. I expect Lord Radric will be most thorough in his efforts to purify this place.
Sure.
Hey.
Laying low. Laying low. Keeping quiet. Let's go! Attack!
Yes?
Yeah. Right. Worth a look.
Greetings. Hail, traveler.
Sure.
Hail and well met.
Laying low.
Found something.
Steady does it.
I'll see what I can find.
Laying low.